Hello, my dear friends. It's a very pity I cannot be with you personally, in person, but I assure you that I'm with you with my heart and hopefully with my brain. And I would like to discuss something about my experience with books, especially books for children and kids. There is a risk nowadays about self censorships. What do we mean by self censorship? We mean the fact that authors, not only editors, but authors put some limit to what they are going to write in order to be sure to please parents, teachers, educators, and the other adults. Definitely not the real audience, which is made by kids and children. Usually, books are nowadays written around a so called message. Those are the books I hate, and those are the books I tend not to write. These kind of books are immediately visible. You can recognize immediately them because the priority goes to the message. But this is wrong. The priority of a book must go to the story and to the characters. Then, not the message, but the content comes by itself. The, the book I love, the book I love to read, and hopefully the book I love to write are the ones who are really around the story, not around the message. If you write a book for a message, for giving a message, it can be a tentative to manipulate your readers. It's a tentative to teach them something. It's different if you start from the story, because a book should not give a predefined message. In a good book, a good story must leave the reader free to pick up from the story what he or she likes, and it's part of a job that has to be made by the reader itself. I usually tend to say that half of the book is written by the writer, but half of the book is written by the reader. So we need to let our kids and our children free to find in the books whatever they are looking for and whatever they are able to find in them. We use books in schools, and that's very good because reading can become a kind of habit. Okay, but at least in my country, but as far as I know, also in other countries and maybe in yours, there is a temptation around books read at school. This is what we call in Italy a kind um, of paper that the children and then the kids have to fill, in which they should write who is the author, what is the main theme of this book, please make a quick summary, which are the main characters, which are the secondary characters. Honestly, I think this is the best way to kill the passion to read. Imagine if you have to go to the cinema with a friend, watching a film, a movie that you really expect for, that you are waiting for, that you have a lot of expectation around it, and then when you go out from the cinema, someone asks you, please fill this form, and who is the author, who is the director, or which is the name of the actors, which is the principal messages of this film. I would say, okay, I will never go to this movie anymore if I have to do this kind of job. I fully understand that at school, educators, teachers have to check if their students actually read the book, if they understood the book, the story, all the passages. And I know that there is this kind of need, but there are different ways, I would say new ways to test it. Think about the power of what we call Readers Club. In many Italian schools, we have them, and they are very, very, very effective. It's a way to put the youngers together to discuss about the book. In this way, a teacher can fully understand if the book has been read. A teacher can also understand if it has been understood. And there is a kind of fact that happens, and I saw it happening many times, that the ones who didn't read the book feel a little bit upset because they cannot participate to the discussion. Then there are other ways to work on a book, on a story at school. Think about redesigning the cover. The cover we have in a book, it's just one of the millions possible. So it can be very interesting and funny also for the youngest to prepare a new cover. Then they could rewrite the final. So change the final. Think of what you would like for this story. We can make them write the possible sequel in just 1 page, 2 pages. It doesn't need to be a novel, okay? But just in few pages, and they are stimulating in imagination, in thinking about how the story will be, will continue. What's next? You can also work on changing the title. Again, the title is just one of the million possible. And believe me, kids and children are very, very, very creative in finding new titles. And sometimes they are better than authors and editors in finding the good one. So, as you can see, there are more participative ways to test the book, to test if it has been read. It is so important to make kids read. Books are something so special. A book can tell me that I'm not alone in the world. A book can tell me that I'm not the only one who suffered from a friend who betrayed me. A book can tell me that I'm not the only one who is suffering from a love who went bad. A book can tell me that I'm not the only one in having some fears, in feeling not comfortable with my body, with my life, with my family, with my country, with my situation. So it's a good way to fight solitude, to fight loneliness. And sometimes in books you can find some possible solutions to your personal question, to your personal struggle. You can find solution, and that solution you can, you have to judge. You have to say that this is a good solution who is applicable to me, or this is not a good solution, or definitely this is not the solution I like. At least in my country, adults are very, very frightened by what we call the negative characters, the bad ones, okay? I don't think we should be afraid of them. We should always count on the judgment of our young readers. Our young readers are passionate judges. And sometimes talking with them when they're facing a negative characters, instead of emulating them as we fear, he will do the same because he says this kind of characters. Many of the readers tell me, I don't want to become like that man. I don't want to become like that woman. I want to be different. Again, stories can make youngers experience what does it mean to be a victim, or to be a criminal, or to be rich, or to be poor. There is an Italian author, the name is Umberto Eco, and I love him when he wrote, who doesn't read at 70s have lived only one life. The readers had 5,000 lives. Why? Because they experienced the life of all the characters of all the stories they read. So it is so important at the age in which we are discovering the world, at an age in which we are discovering ourselves, at an age in which we are discovering the reality and the others, with a body who is changing. And so imagine that's a very big question for the youngers, especially for the teenagers. What should I do with my changed body in relations with other bodies who are changed themselves? So it's a question about relationship and my place in the world. So we need to offer good books, good stories, not pedagogical one, not with the final moral, but the one who let children and kids think. And we need to trust, and to trust their judgment, to trust their capability of understanding, of finding a solution, on deciding which way, which route they should go, or they would like to go. And now we are besides them, not ahead, not behind, we're just besides them in guiding them and giving our company, our passionate company, in while they are discovering the world and themselves. So these are just some thoughts about the importance of books. But let me give you a final point. Let me touch with you a final point. We say that children and kids do not read. Actually, this is not true. They are good readers. We are not good readers, the adults. So we should do something not only to grow a new generation of readers, but we should do something also on the adults. Because the best way for a younger to be interested in books is having someone close to him who is enjoying books. It could be their parents. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But I would say it could be their educators, their teachers. So my recommendation, my passionate recommendation is also to you as educators, as teachers, to read, to know the new contemporary literature, not only to stick to classics. They are so good, the classic book, and we have grown with them. But we need to know that the contemporary literature have different languages, a more fresh language, as more interesting and the real life topics. They touch the real life. They describe the real life. They have a different path, a different rhythm in telling the story. that could be more interesting, more passionate, and I would say more easy to read. And easy doesn't mean banal. Easy means that I feel comfortable in taking the story, in going through the story, in emerging into the story and be part of it and enjoying it. And so contemporary books can help the youngers to discover that books can be friends.